So it was being reported by DK Pittsburgh Sports, Dan Kalachevich, that Russell Wilson will not be back with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And not only was his play horrendous, the nails in his coffin, the final straw was Russell Wilson made a fake narrative to the news that Arthur Smith wouldn't let him audible at the line of scrimmage, and that's why his play was horrible. This was a complete lie. He made the whole thing up, him and his team, for a distraction for his bad play. And evidently, Dean also says that Russell Wilson did this with the Denver Broncos. Now, I remember seeing the Legion of Boom, Marshawn Lynch, Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman really bash Russell Wilson for a lot of different reasons. And usually NFL guys don't do this, so I was kind of surprised. But evidently, Russell Wilson does this type of stuff all the time in every team that he's on. And that's never going to go over well in a professional football locker room with the amount of personalities and competitiveness that the players have. It's just never going to end well, and it didn't end well in Pittsburgh either. I'm starting to think Russell Wilson... Wait, hold on. Let me back up a bit. Because every time you see Russell Wilson, he says the right things. He's on Nickelodeon with the kids. He always has the right response with the media. So I used to even question this. You know, is he really a good guy? What's going on? But I did think he was a decent human being for a long period of time. And then you hear these reports, which are coming from the Steelers organization. And it just didn't come from the Steelers organization. It came from the Broncos. It came from the Seahawks. So he has a track record of this type of behavior. What I'm starting to think is this. You ever see a horror film or a scary movie where the kids go trick-or-treating and they show up to the nice house with the white picket fence, and, you know, you got the mom and dad there and they're so polite and they just look like such good people, and they invite the kids in, and then they massacre them? That's what I'm starting to think Russell Wilson is. Maybe he's just a total psychopath. Because who would do something like this? You know, millions of people watch the Steelers. It's not like your coaches, teammates, and the organization don't watch the game, never mind the fans. And then you come up with this narrative. Forget a narrative. You just lied. You completely lied to the media, your team, and said that you weren't allowed to audible at the line of scrimmage, and that's why you played so bad this year. To make public perception outraged that the Steelers wanted to get rid of you. This is psychopathic behavior. He's a psychopath. Well, I guess the positive thing to look at this point, he won't be back in Pittsburgh. Never mind being a psychopath, but he wasn't a good quarterback. He's old. His arm is shot. His legs are shot. He can't throw the ball to the middle of the field. He can't throw the deep ball. It's no big deal. It's time to move on. And I'll say this again. When he beat the Jets and everybody lost their mind, and racist Ryan Clark on ESPN, and ESPN was saying, Russell Wilson's the greatest quarterback ever. The Steelers are Super Bowl bound. I immediately made a video saying don't believe the Russell Wilson hype. As the season would progress, his arm would get weaker, his legs would get more tired, and his play would become more erratic. And that's exactly what happened. That's what happens to 36-year-old quarterbacks. It's nothing personal. If he played fantastic, I'd say, you know what? He played wonderful. Let's bring him back. But he didn't. He was horrible from start to finish. Wasn't the offensive line's fault. Wasn't the receiver's fault. Wasn't the running back's fault. Wasn't the coordinator's fault. It was Mr. Psychopath himself's fault, Russell Wilson. But let's move on. So Art Rooney has said he wants two quarterbacks in the room with a similar style of play so they don't have to have a different playbook for each quarterback. And right away, everybody's saying, Justin Fields, Justin Fields. And when I really think about this morning, why not Sam Darnold and Kirk Cousins in the same room? Two proven veterans. Sam Darnold's coming off a fantastic year. He can throw the ball downfield, no problem. He gives you the best chance to win, better than Justin Fields. And if he gets hurt or it doesn't work out, Kirk Cousins, he always wins 8 to 10 games a year, and then he goes on a 7-game losing streak. This room would make more sense. Of course, Kirk Cousins is going to have to come with a cheaper price tag, a reasonable price tag, 8 to 10 million a season. And we're going to have to open the bank for Sam Darnold. But both of these quarterbacks give you a chance to win instantly. And I know that Kirk Cousins usually fizzles down the stretch. But let's just say hypothetically that Sam Darnold wins 10 games and then he got hurt. And you bring in Kirk Cousins. He can win you 7 games. He can get you into a Super Bowl. What are the other options? Justin Fields and a rookie you've never heard of? Does that sound? I mean, I've made video after video. I'm all about trying to develop Justin Fields. But Art Rooney has kind of made this a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. Because there's no problem having Sam Darnold and Justin Fields in the same room. You have the same playbook, but all the read option stuff, you just don't have Sam Darnold do. It's that simple. But if Art insists it be 2 similar players with a similar style play, then let Justin Fields go, bring in Sam Darnold, let Kirk Cousins or Gardner Minshew or even Jameis Winston be his backup, who I'm not crazy about bringing into the organization, but he's the same type of player, so you get my point. They're still serviceable quarterbacks. The next thing that was being reported this morning was there's a chance that they bring back Najee Harris. I like this idea. First, Najee is very well liked in the locker room by his teammates. He works extremely hard. I think that if you let him go, it'll be just another James Conner situation where he goes to Arizona and has a very good career. I don't think that letting him go is the answer, as long as he comes back under a reasonable price, which has been reported to be between $7 and $10 million a year, which is fair. He should be brought back. If you think you're just going to bring other guys in, they're going to be so much better than Najee, you're lying. You don't understand football. He's a proven veteran that works hard, that's respected in the locker room, that's a team captain. It's a win-win bringing him back. You're going to get good productivity out of him. He catches the ball in the backfield, and he can run hard. And I'm going to sum it up with this. I don't know how I really feel about this situation. The Pittsburgh Steelers are having a game in Ireland in 2025. It'll be one of their home games. Now, from this standpoint, I don't have a problem with it. I'm sure there's some young children or kids in Ireland that can't make their way to America that really want to see a game, so I don't have a problem with it. But all this international play with the NFL, I got an issue with. For a lot of Americans, the game of football or their team is something that they really enjoy and love, and pretty much their whole Sunday revolves around their team. A lot of people like going to the stadium to see a game, and you're taking a game away from hardworking Steelers fans. And that's what I got a problem with. It's difficult in America to pay your bills as it is. Never mind now, you got to take a trip to Ireland to watch a home game. And this is why I have an issue with this. I'm not totally sold on this. I'm not really crazy about it. Again, the only aspect that I'll be somewhat understandable is that there's a young fan in Ireland that can't make his way to America to see a game. Because when you go to the Pittsburgh Stadium, there's people from all over the world that travel there to see a Steelers game. I'm all about America and Americans first. It's not a knock on anybody else, but these international games, I'm not a fan of, and I will never be a fan of, ever. So the Steelers are going to play the Green Bay Packers in Ireland. You couldn't have asked for 2 better teams with a lot of tradition. And we'll see how it goes from there.